Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you might be watching in this new topsy-turvy world that we live in. This video is designed to teach you how to create an index in any version of Microsoft Word. But before we start, let's consider a few basic rules that we should follow. Firstly, press Control Home to go to the very top of the document, and then press F7 to perform a spell check. Next, save a second copy of your document so that if things go haywire in the indexing, you have a clean copy to refer back to. Next, review your document again and then decide which words you wish to include in the index, and then simply create the index. In this document, the first word we're going to include in the index is the word art. So I'm going to double click on that word to select it. Then I go to the References tab and I look for, in the index group, Mark Entry. When I mark the entry and then look at the window that pops up, I click Mark. I then close that window and I notice that the paragraph markers have been entered into the document. We don't particularly want to see these, so I'm going to go to the Home tab and switch off the paragraph marker. There we go. Now the next word I'm going to put into the index is the word book. So I'll double click on the word book to select it, and the same procedure, the References tab, Mark Entry and Mark. Close the window again and turn off the paragraph markers. You can leave those on if you wish, but it's much easier to use the document with them turned off. Now, just one more word. We're going to use the word web. So I double click on it, go to my References tab, mark the entry, and this time I want to entry that appears on all pages, so I click Mark All. Then I close and then I switch off the... Now let's turn on the tab markers, because what I want to show you is how Word handles the insertion of the index entries by way of code into the document. So the first word we selected was art, and you'll notice that it appears here in code. The next was the word book. Again, it appears in code here, and finally the word web in the last page. We will see the word web down here and the code for that particular word. So now let's turn off the tab markers and we're in a position to insert our index. So an index will normally appear at the very last page. So what I've done, I've inserted a new page at the bottom of the document, and I've typed a little heading index, and I want the index to appear at the insertion point. So now what I'm going to do is click on References, Insert Index, and you may notice that the columns default to 2. I only want one column, and I also want to right align the page numbers. So I put a tick in there, and that lets me insert the tab leaders, the little dots that go across. Now when I click OK and replace any index that was previously there, there is my index. It only has the 3 words, but as I say, I'm sure you'll have many more, but the procedure is exactly the same. So the word art appears on page 1, as does the word book, and the word web appears on pages 2 and 3. Now, if you wish to delete an index entry, you need to do that using the tab marker. So what we're going to do is Control Home to go to the very first page. We'll turn on the tab markers and we're going to delete the word art from the index. So I drag through the code and press delete. Turn off the tab marker, go down to the index, and when I refresh the index by going to the References tab and insert index, the tab leaders, right align page number again, one column, click OK, replace the index, yes, and the word art has been deleted. That's the way that you delete entries in an index. Similarly, you could add words to the index by using the procedure that I've shown you, and then in the References tab, insert index and replace the index. Now, the last thing that we need to learn how to do is to create in our index a main heading with subheadings below it. It's really quite simple, but there's a few steps involved. So what I'm going to do is to choose 3 words from this particular page. The words will be project, text, and images. And I'm going to create those as sub-entries for a main entry called design. So the first thing we'll do is to select our word project, and then in the References tab, let's go to Mark Entry. But this time, I'm going to select the word project and press Control X. That deletes the word, but it saves it on the clipboard. Then I'll click down here and make it a sub-entry by pressing Control V. And the main entry will be design. Then I choose Mark. Now, the next word will be text after I close this box. Text, References, mark the entry. Again, Control X, Control V, or I could have simply deleted and retyped. Design is our main entry, and let's mark that particular entry, close the box, and the last word will be images. References, mark the entry, images, Control X, click down, Control V, and the main entry again is design. Oops, design. So what I now do is mark that entry, and I now go after closing the box, I can now go down to my index and I'll press the References tab and update the index. And there is my updated index. I'll turn off the paragraph markers, and that is how indexing is handled. I do hope you found this particular video educational. You can use the indexing, of course, in a book you may be writing, in a school or university project. It's very, very handy. Bear in mind that the next upload that I do will be how to create a table of contents, which goes nicely hand in hand with the index. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and click the bell next to the word subscribe, and you'll be automatically advised of upcoming uploads. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.